Hey guys, and welcome back. In my last video I showed off a custom PCB I made to do the shinewave reactive LED mod. In that video I asked for your feedback to see if folks would be interested in them, and if I would make them available on my Etsy store. The overwhelming answer was yes. So today I wanted to walk you guys through how to do a reactive LED mod using the shinewave code and the PCB I made. But make sure you guys stick around to the end as we celebrate hitting 2,000 subscribers with a giveaway of the controller we mod in this video and a shinewave kit. So first things first, you're going to want to make sure you have a controller with a clear back on it. Now you can obviously get a Nintendo branded controller with a clear back, or you can do what I'm doing here and use a third-party controller. If you end up going the third-party route, the important thing to keep in mind is you're going to want to get one that is made by TTX or Technogame. Any other third-party manufacturer of controller will not fit a stock Nintendo GameCube controller shell. When you get the kit, it'll ship in an ESD safe bag, and it'll include three things. One is 4 LEDs, 2 is the actual PCB itself with the shinewave code already flashed on there, and 3 is a 3-wire ribbon cable. So first things first, we're going to get our flush cuts, and we're going to make a couple modifications to the actual face of the controller and to the plastic that houses the rumble motor. So the first thing we're going to do is make the modification you're seeing here, which is to take that inner rib and go ahead and cut about a 1/4 of an inch of it. The other thing I'm doing is just using my flush cuts over here to make it, actually flush with the bottom of the controller shell. Next, we're going to make our way over to the back of the rumble housing, and you're going to notice there's almost like a plus sign back there, which supports the rumble motor itself. And what we're going to want to do is take the top of the plus sign that connects the rumble motor, and we just want to go ahead and, we don't need to remove it completely, but we just want to make an indentation, and basically what we're going to end up doing with that is run our ribbon cable through it. As previously mentioned, you're going to get a 3-conductor piece of ribbon cable, and we're going to cut that into the 5 lengths that you're seeing here on the actual screen itself. Once everything's been cut to length, you're going to go ahead and strip and tin each of the ends of the wire. I recommend doing it all at once because as long as you're doing one, you might as well do them all. So let's montage through this real quick and get all these stripped and tinned. Alright, with all the wire ready to go, it's time to actually do some soldering. So the first thing I'm going to do is take the longest length of wire and I'm going to connect it to the controller end of the actual PCB itself. So all I'm going to do is solder that wire on there, and then I will not solder it to the controller yet. That will actually be the last step that we do. So with the board set aside, our next goal is to make a chain of the RGB LEDs, similar to the one you're seeing on the screen right now. So one thing to point out now, as we look at these RGB LEDs, these individually addressable ones, is the data will actually flow from the shinewave PCB to each RGB LED itself. And you can tell the direction that everything is flowing by the arrow that's on the top and bottom of the RGB LED itself. So just keep this concept in mind as you're wiring these up and follow the wiring recommendation that I have on the screen right now, and you should be all set. So let's get these all wired up, let's montage through them so you guys can kind of see the creation of this RGB LED chain. On to the home stretch. Okay, so we're going to solder the actual shinewave PCB to the controller itself, and specifically we're going to solder in pins 6, 3, and 2 from the controller PCB onto the shinewave kit itself. The beauty of this is Nintendo's pretty much laid out the actual pins for us on the silk screen and the PCB, but we're going to go ahead and solder those up, and I usually solder it as you're kind of seeing here to the front of the pins. Just make sure you're paying attention to what's pin 6, what's pin 3, and which is pin 2. Other than that, just take some time, use good soldering technique, and of course, use plenty of flux. With all that done, let's reassemble the controller and get ready to work with a little bit of hot glue. We're going to use hot glue to keep the actual shinewave PCB in place, as well as help us run all of our wire. So installing the actual shinewave PCB, what I do is drop some hot glue onto the RG side of the board and go ahead and connect that to the front shell of the controller itself. Next, I'm going to put a tiny bit of electrical tape and cover up the solder pads on the rumble. Now, the reason why I'm going to do that is eventually I'm going to put an LED there, and I just don't want to cause any shorts. The first LED I actually put on top of the microcontroller itself, so I'm just going to drop a little bit of hot glue on top of the microcontroller and press the first LED into place. I'm also going to add a little bit of hot glue to the side of the rumble housing to kind of, taper down and keep that wire, the ribbon cable in line that's running from the controller PCB to the actual shinewave PCB itself. And again, this is just to kind of make it so it stays in place and doesn't get in the way. Now we're going to glue in place the second RGB LED. As previously noted, it's going to go on top of the electrical tape that we placed on the pads that go to the rumble motor. The one thing that I kind of like to do when I place this second one is angle the LED a little bit so I more easily can route the ribbon cable in the slot we cut earlier. With that wire nicely routed, I'm going to add a tiny bit of hot glue to the top of it, just to really keep it in place and hold it up against the rumble motor housing. As we place LED 3 and LED 4, LED 4 I'm just going to kind of glue into the bottom of the controller shell as you're seeing here. It's pretty much perpendicular with the first LED we glued in. For LED 3, you just want to make sure that it's out of the way of the actual controller, the back of the controller shell. There's a circle back there that holds the C-stick in place, and you really just want to make sure that, the LED isn't getting in the way of that, or you will not be able to close the shell properly. You can kind of see right here, it's not quite perpendicular to the second LED, but, that's just the way I kind of had to route it in order to make it work. At this point, the last thing to do is just button up the controller and go ahead and test it out. Let's see how she works. Well, this one works absolutely perfectly, but I think I mentioned something about a giveaway and 2,000 subscribers, which firstly I just want to say thank you for your support, words of encouragement, and most importantly, your time. This journey has been a ton of fun, and we're still just getting warmed up. So we're going to be giving away the controller that you're seeing in front of you right now, as well as this shinewave kit. And all you got to do to enter is leave a comment, a like, and a subscribe, and you'll be entered into the competition. With all that being said, guys, I want to thank you very much for watching, and I'll look forward to catching you on the next one here soon.